130 people now have been confirmed dead in the Morbi tragedy, where a suspension bridge collapsed at approximately 6:30 p.m. last night. Rescue and rehabilitation efforts have been continuing ever since. One person is still missing, and the Gujarat administration says that these rescue attempts will continue until the last person has been traced as well as found. Now, these are some of the visuals that we've managed to in fact access from the moment that the collapse actually took place at approximately 6:30 p.m. last night. A lot of lapses on the part of the firm managing the maintenance of the structure have since come to light, and an FIR has been filed by the Gujarat administration against the firm in question. These are some of the visuals that we see both at the time of the tragedy and its immediate aftermath, where scores of people who were actually on the bridge, approximately 300 of them, ended up falling into the Machchhu river immediately upon the collapse of the suspension bridge. And this is the exact moment. There have actually been accusations that have also come to the fore that there were some people who were standing on the bridge who were trying to deliberately shake the structure, and that may have in fact contributed to the eventual collapse of the bridge in question. Every person who was actually on the bridge at that point in time ended up falling into the river, and dozens of bodies as well as heads could actually be seen in the water in the Machchhu river immediately after the collapse of the suspension bridge in question. Now, let's in fact go through some of the reasons why this might have happened, and some of the lapses that have come to light and the kind of norms that have actually been violated. Now, the process that is typically required in a scenario such as this, it requires a technical assessment before people can actually be allowed onto the bridge after the renovation has been cleared. However, in this particular instance, the bridge was in fact opened without any assessment that was actually the prescribed norm in this particular case. There are more lapses that have now come to light. The load-bearing capacity has to be tested before people, at least the magnitude that was actually seen on the bridge at that point in time, and about 300 people were on that bridge, that can actually be tested. The load-bearing capacity test was also not carried out. A fitness certificate is also a must before a bridge can actually be opened after renovation. That process too was completely violated. The bridge was opened without any fitness certificate as well. So a series of lapses. One can only open a bridge after an NOC or a no objection certificate has been obtained. This bridge again was opened to public viewing despite no NOC having been given. So these are some of the lapses that have actually come to light, for which accountability now needs to be placed. An FIR has been filed against the firm in question, but can those within the administration also absolve them of any responsibility? Let me go across to Aishwarya, who's joining us for all the updates. He's joining us from Ahmedabad, and he is outside the maintenance firm that had actually been given the contract for this bridge. Aishwarya, what can you tell us about the follow-up action now likely to be taken?
So there are lots and lots of questions, but nobody is to respond on these questions on the death of 132 innocent people who was there yesterday on the bridge, but nobody from the company Ajanta Manufacturing Limited, which had been given the contract for 15 years for the maintenance, but no official can be seen over here. There you can see in the visuals, this is the headquarter of the company which had been given the contract, and there are 5 subsidiary company offices in the same building. It's the same headquarter, and there you can see Ajanta Infra Projects Limited, Ajanta Manufacturing Private Limited, that's on the 3rd floor, but the gate has been locked. In fact, there has been nobody as far as guards are concerned. Since morning, when I'm reporting from here, there are several people, the courier guys have come over here, but nobody can even deliver the post-stem. When we consulted to the neighbors of this headquarters, they stated that it was locked and everybody ran away. There's also a second gate which has been closed. So clearly the questions which have been raised on the part of the company, that why without any no certificate, the bridge was open. This March, the contract was given for the maintenance and for the entire renovation of the bridge. Then why, when it was supposed to be completed in the next 13 months, why it got just opened after 5 months? There was also several questions on the stamp duty. On the stamp duty, what we have accessed, the contractual papers between the Ajanta Manufacturing Limited and the Morbi municipality, that shows that it is just of rupees 300. That means 5% normally is the incurred charge of the contract, and it's supposed to be happening at 30, something around 30,000. So there are a lot of questions that need to be answered, but nobody is responding from the company side. In fact, there are questions also being raised on the municipality as well. Where were they when the bridge was opened privately? The chief officer is stating that there was no object certificate, but the private firm got this bridge opened without any permission. Then why no cognizance was taken from the municipality side to close that without any without giving any fitness certificate? So there are several questions, and SIT have already been formed, FIR have already been lodged, and the investigation will reveal all of these answers. But today, on ground, when the families, the next to kin, are suffering, they are crying of their loss, but nobody from the official side is there to respond. Only what we can see over here in Gandhinagar in Gujarat is the locked headquarters of Ajanta Manufacturing Limited. Remember, Times Now is the only channel which is reporting. We have reached here first to know from the officials of this company, and I have the number of the CEO as well. Let's try to contact him, of the Ajanta Manufacturing. Let's try to contact him if he responds to us or not. Certainly, I tried to reach out to the spokesperson of this as well, of the company, but no response had come from his part as well. There you can clearly see. Let's put on this speaker mode. Jaisukh Patel, he's the Oreva CEO. So his phone is switched off. He is absconding. His phone is switched off. The police is trying to reach out to him as well, but nobody from the company's part has been responding. The spokesperson has not given any statement on these questions, that why the bridge was opened soon after 5 months, and there's also another second gate as well which is also closed. The guards over here clearly stating that after Diwali this office has been shut, but as we can see, 5 subsidiary company offices are here on the 3rd floor, on the 2nd floor, and it's a huge building, and the scale of this building can justify the turnover of this company, but they have played with the lives of the innocents. 132 people have died, and somebody has to respond, and we will be getting them on camera, on record, certainly, to why they have opened without any fitness certificate this bridge.
Absolutely,
where yesterday.
I suggest you stay put there. We'll of course keep coming back to you, and you can continue your efforts to track down the owner of the company in question. But let us take our viewers through the lapses in question in this particular instance just once again, so that the administration as well as the private firm that have been given the contract for the maintenance can actually be held to account. The first lapse: the bridge has been reopened without a fitness certificate having been obtained. So how are more than 350 to 400 people actually allowed to actually be on that bridge at that point in time without the due procedure having been followed? That's the first lapse that needs to be investigated. The second lapse, of course, is also the fact that the load capacity, the load sharing capacity had also not been tested at the time that more than 300 people were actually allowed on that particular bridge at that point in time. So the load capacity had not been tested, a fitness certificate had not been obtained before the bridge was actually reopened. We'll come back to the second lapse again. Another lapse, of course, that is also being talked about is that the due procedure in terms of obtaining the NOC was also not fulfilled. But 8 to 12 months were given for the maintenance for this particular bridge, and yet well before the deadline could elapse, within a space of about 4 to 5 months, that's when the bridge was already opened. So enough scrutiny had not been actually conducted over the wherewithal in terms of whether or not the bridge can sustain that kind of weight, and well in advance, before the stipulated deadline can actually elapse, the bridge had been opened for public viewing. So that's the second lapse that needs to be in fact investigated. Tickets had been sold without a fitness certificate having been obtained. So the bridge was opened without a fitness certificate. That's the very first lapse that we brought to you. The second, of course, is the fact that public was actually allowed to congregate on that bridge and were sold tickets despite, again, due procedure not being followed in this particular matter. So that's the third lapse that is also under question. The fourth, tickets had been sold above the bridge's capacity. So how is it that more than 300 people to 350 people could actually be on that bridge at a singular point in time, even though the estimated and prescribed capacity was far lower than that? So tickets well above the prescribed capacity had been handed over to the viewing public. 250 to 300 people allowed on the bridge at once. This again is, of course, above the prescribed capacity of what the bridge can actually withstand, and that was one of the contributory factors to its eventual collapse. So these are some of the lapses that have actually come to mind and need to now be investigated thoroughly by the authorities. Aishwarya, you of course have been trying to contact the owners. You're at the premises of the private company that was given the maintenance contract. But what about the administration? Presumably, the administration would be holding some kind of a supervisory role in this entire matter. They cannot simply wash their hands off by blaming only this private company while not holding themselves to account for what has happened.
Well, therefore the reason, questions are being asked from the municipality as well, that why not the cognizance was taken on their part when the company opened the bridge just 5 months after the contract was given for the maintenance on the day of New Year of Gujarat. 26th of October, and there were several people, the eyewitnesses, who have stated that the work was going on one side, and the tickets were sold more than at a singular point of time. There were at least 400 to 500 people, but the capacity remains 300. It was the 6th day. Remember, on October 26th it was open. So where was the municipal corporation? Where was the chief executive officer who is washing his hands currently, blaming on the company? But nobody has been, but why they have not taken the cognizance?
Who's the gentleman walking out?
आप यहाँ पर आते हैं, यहाँ पर कोरियर वगैरह देने के लिए, तो यहाँ पर अजंता इंफ्रा लिमिटेड का है. कौन लोग आपको यहाँ पे मिलते हैं और कब से बंद है? पहले आप कभी लास्ट टाइम आए?
नहीं, ये अभी दिवाली के बाद ही आया है. ये पार्सल इनका आया था. अच्छा. तो इसके लिए मैं अभी आज ही, नहीं तो दिवाली से पहले तो चालू ही था.
ये जयसुख पटेल जो इनके सीईओ हैं, उन्हीं का आप पार्सल लेकर आए हैं?
हाँ.
अच्छा, ये इसी का एड्रेस है पूरा का पूरा. तो यहाँ पर ये बैठते हैं? पहले रहते थे? दिवाली के पहले आप बोल रहे, दिवाली के बाद से ये बंद है कंपनी?
दिवाली से पहले तो था यहाँ पे, अभी तो नहीं है.
तो क्या इनका ऑफिस 3rd फ्लोर पर जिस तरीके से दिखा रहे हैं, 2nd फ्लोर पे, 1st फ्लोर पर भी इन्हीं के एम्प्लॉइज बैठते हैं?
हाँ, सब इनका है.
अच्छा,
पूरा.
So there you heard from one of the courier guy. Clearly he stated, and a lot of people otherwise have also come since morning, but the doors have been shut because they have no respond.
Just a request to you, Aishwarya. Just a request to you, Aishwarya. If you could just track down the person who come there to deliver the courier. If you can actually try calling Mr. Jayasukh Patel, the CEO, through his number and not yours, because he was not picking up the phone at the time that you were trying to get in touch with him. If you could ask the gentleman there to also give him a call and find out if the phone is in fact picked up, because he's out to deliver a courier.
Let's stop this person who had come to deliver this courier, but I think
Okay,
there are several others who have came across earlier as well. He's left, but we'll try to again contact. We'll try to track down the CEO. Of course, we'll get the response on why such thing has happened, where without any certificate, without any fitness certificate, NOC, this bridge was opened. Sir, आपसे भी सर एक सेकंड रुकेंगे आप यहाँ पर कोरियर डिलीवर करने आए थे? एक सेकंड बात करिए. अच्छा, आप यहाँ पर लेकिन कोरियर डिलीवर करते हैं ना? आप यहाँ पर काम करते हैं? बस एक चीज मैं आपसे जानना चाहूंगा. आपने मेरे को एक एनवेलप दिखाया. भैया एक सेकंड बात तो करिए. आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं? एक सेकंड के लिए बात करिए ना. आप बस मेरे को इतना सा बताइए कि आपने जो मेरे को एनवेलप दिखाया था, उसमें जयसुख पटेल, जो आपने एनवेलप दिखाया था मेरे को, उसमें जयसुख पटेल का जो नाम था, क्या आप लोग उनसे कांटेक्ट कर पाते हैं? आप लोग जब कोरियर डिलीवर करने आते हैं तो आप लोग मिलते थे उनसे?
नहीं, मैं नहीं मिलता.
हाँ, तो आप लोग कैसे डिलीवर करते हैं फिर उनको? So no respond. People are running away. Doors are locked from both the sides. In fact, the courier guys have been coming over here to deliver their courier on the name of Jaisukh Patel, but certainly his number is off. As I tried to contact him, the spokesperson is unavailable over here. 5 subsidiary companies offices registered here in Gandhinagar in Gujarat at this very location, but no in the entire headquarters of Ajanta Manufacturing Private Limited is over here, and therefore the reason perhaps we are trying to track down the owners, and somebody should be responsible on the loss of 132 innocent lives.